Hello, on this Maundy Thursday I wanted us to look at this portrayal of the Last Supper. It's done in the style of Yoruba art by an artist who, because I'm not confident of pronouncing his name accurately, I'll write on the screen, but his nickname, called by his contemporaries, is Baba Bruce. And he produces work by carving directly into plaster of Paris and then covering it with a resin, which is then removed to create the final piece of art. And he's portrayed the Last Supper with the table at a different angle from the one that's traditional, so that we are seated, as it were, invisibly at the end, looking at Christ, who is at the head of the table, and we are being drawn into this portrayal. And those who saw it in southwestern Nigeria, where Baba Bruce comes from, would have identified it as being set in their own situation, because you've got clothing and architecture and the kind of fabrics used in the clothing represent the kind that was contemporary with Baba Bruce earlier on this century. And he wants to draw us in by making the whole situation feel contemporary. And of course, this is part of the tradition of art in portraying the Last Supper and other events of Christ's life. In the Renaissance, people were dressed in Renaissance clothing. And the idea was to bring the events of Christ's life into the present day, to make them relevant. And I think this is something which is important for us to remember today and helpful, because as we think of the various events of Christ's life leading up to the crucifixion, which we'll remember tomorrow, we're aware that this is echoing the values of love and self-sacrifice, the struggle that leads to suffering and pain, the ultimate triumph of hope. These are all values which we want for ourselves and our world today. I'm going to also add on the end of this video pictures which I've taken from the triptych of which this Last Supper painting is the centre. Around the edges are the portrayal of the 14 stations of the cross, the different traditional stages of the journey of Christ from his condemnation to his death. And again, these are portrayed in a way which brings these events right into the present day. Other modern attempts have been made too to portray the events of Holy Week in modern terms. I like this one, which indicates the way in which Christ coming in on Palm Sunday was dismayed at the kind of populist response that he received. It wasn't what he wanted, and maybe as a comment again on our own society, on the way populism so easily dominates. But let's today just reflect on the way in which the Last Supper, Christ giving himself in bread and wine to his disciples, is something which we echo Sunday by Sunday now. And in the same way as Christ gave himself to them, so Christ gives himself to us through that event and through the events of Good Friday tomorrow.